Shalom, 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 everybody. What up? What up? How y'all doing today? Welcome back to Reading with SHILO. What's up, everybody? Shalom, man. It's SHILO. I'm out here. I'm out here trying to read something. And to see what it be. So we're going to go ahead and read and see what's going on in chapter 6 of Miss Zora, Hurston's book, man. She down there at the sawmill with them boys. Talking grammar and literary. Oh, man. Miss Zora, Neale, Hurston. Mules and Men. Mules and Men. Come on in so we can begin. Like, comment, subscribe, leave a, put something in the chat. If I can know the chat is where it's at. Anyway. Chapter 6. Chapter 6. Let's see how we gonna read this morning. Lord willing. Lord willing to be a good read this morning. Let me see how long chapter 6 is. Gotta stop saying morning. Today, I mean. Let's see how long 6 gonna be. 6 a pretty lengthy one. But we'll run it. We'll run it. Chapter 6 of Mules and Men of part 1. Chapter 6 of part 1 of Mules and Men. Ooh. Tukey Allen passed by the mill all dressed up in a tight shake baby. She must have thought she looked good because she was walking that way. All the men stopped talking for a while. Joe Willard hollered at her. "Hey, Tukey, how do you like your new dress?" Tukey made out she didn't hear, but anybody could tell that she had. That was why she had put on her new dress and come past the mill in ringing and twisting, so she could hear the men talking about her in the dress. Lord, look at Tukey switching it and looking back at it. She done gone crazy through them hips. Joe Willard just couldn't take his eyes off of Tukey. Oh, man. You done seen Tukey and her walk too much to be making all that moderation over here. If you can't show me nothing better than that, don't bring that mess up, Cliff Ullman hooted. Let's tell some more lies on old Master and John. John Show was a smart nigga now. He used to get there best old Master all the time, gloated Sack Daddy. Yeah, but some white folks is smarter than you think. Put on in Eugene Oliver. For instance now, take a man I know up in West Florida. He hired a color man to clear off some new ground, but that skillet blind was too lazy to work. The white man will show him what to do. Then he's gone back to the house and keep his books. Soon as he turned his back, the nigga would flop down and go to sleep. Now, when he heard somebody coming, he'd hit the log a few licks with the flat of the axe and say, "Clunk, clunk." You think I'm working, but I ain't. The white man heard him, but he didn't say a word. Saturday night, come an old coffee went up to the white man to get his pay. The white man stacked up his great big old silver dollars and shook them in his hand and says, "Clink, clink. You think you're gonna pay? You think I'm gonna pay you? But I ain't." By that time, somebody saw the straw boss coming, so everybody made it on up into the mill. The mill boss said, "What are y'all coming in here for?" I ain't got enough work for my own men. Get from home. The swamp gang shuffled on out of the mill. Oomph, oomph, said Big Black Baby. We could have been done. We could have been gone if we had known that. I tell y'all to come on and go inside, but y'all wouldn't take a listening. Y'all think I'm old foggy, young coon for running, but old coon for cunning. We went on back to the quarters. And when Miss Bertha Allen saw us coming from the mill, she began to hunt up the hoe and the rake. She looked under the porch and behind the house until she got them both and placed them handy. As soon as Jim Allen hit the steps, she said, I'm mighty proud y'all got the day off. Maybe I can get this yard all clean today. Just look at the trash and the dirt. And there's so many weeds in this yard. I'm liable to get snake bit at my own door. Tain't no use in you getting your mouth all primped up for no horn and raking out of me, Bertha. Call your grandson and let him do it. I told that old that. Oh, said Jim Tesley. Oh, Shalom. What's up, my son? Oh, my son. Oh, the Most High, he make your rolls up today. Oh, how you feeling today, huh? Good. Oh, you feel good in Daddy arms. Oh, I love you, my son. Can you see? Yes, sir. Can you hear? Yes, sir. Can you feel? Yes, sir. Can you smell? Yes, sir. Can you walk? Yes, sir. Can you talk? Yes, sir. Then you have everything you need to succeed, son. You have everything you need to succeed. So let Daddy finish reading. You good? Yes. Oh, let me look at you. Oh, you're so handsome. Oh, son. All right. Daddy gonna finish reading. What you about to do? You gonna be with your brother? I have maybe 7. What? Some cereal, man. That stuff I don't even have. All right. I'm a standing in my tracks and stepping back on my abstract. I ain't gonna rake no yard. I'm going fishing. Clifford almost snapped back. Grandma, you worries more about this place. You worries more about this place than the man that owns it. I ain't the Everglades Cypress Lumber Company for sure. You's just shaking in one of these shanties. Leave the weeds go. Somebody'll come chop them someday. Nah, I ain't gonna leave them go. You and Jim would wallow in dirt right up to your necks if it wasn't for me. Jim, throw down his jumper and his dinner bucket. Now, I'm a-going fishing too. When Bertha starts her jawing, I can't stand on the place. Her tongue is hung in the middle and works both ways. Now, come on, Cliff. Let's get these poles. Spec, I'm going to have to make a new line for my trout pole, Cliff said. The great big old fish I hooked last time carried my other line off in his mouth, remember? And that wasn't no trout got your line. That was, you tell us, but that was a log bit your hook that time. Log is white, twitted. Yes, that was a trout too now. Now, I'm a real fisherman. I ain't like y'all. I can catch fish anywhere. All I want to know is there any water? Now, man, I can a bucket. Don't believe me? Just come on down to the lake. I'll bet you I'll pull them all the fish out the lake before you can get a bait bug. Now that's a go, shouted Lawkins. Let's go. Come on with the rest of y'all to see this thing out. This boy about to burst his britches since he been crawling tobacco regular and working in the swamp with us men's. Cliff picked up the hoe and went round behind the house to dig some bait. Old Jim went inside and got a spool of No. 8 cotton and a piece of beeswax and went to twisting the trout line. He baptized the hook in, I don't know what the hell this is, asafoetida. Asafoetida. He baptized the hook in asafoetida. Let me see if that's an actual word. Asafoetida. He baptized the hook in asafoetida. What the fuck was that word? Bam, got it. Asafoetida. 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 Let's see if I can find this damn thing. ASA. Who know what asafoetida? Is that a word? Is it a word or is it just an old country saying? ASA. Asafoetida. ASA. It's not in here. Asafoetida. 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 Maybe I'm pronouncing it wrong. Trying to learn y'all something. I'm trying to learn something too. What is asafoetida? I don't know. I don't know what no asafoetida is. It's in here. It is in here. It is a word. Asafoetida. 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 The fetid gum resin of various ornamental oriental plants of the carrot family, formerly used in medicine as an antispasmodic and in folk medicine as a general prophylactic against disease. Asafoetida. Asafoetida, used in folk medicine. We are reading a folk book. Let me read it again. He baptized the hook in asafoetida and put his hunting knife in his pocket. He baptized the hook, I guess that way, just in case he hook himself, he don't get sick or he don't get messed up. Asafoetida. Asafoetida. ASA. Asafoetida. 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 All right. Yeah, we finally found one. Now let's get back to reading. Asafoetida. He baptized the hook in asafoetida and put his hunting knife in his pocket. Met Clifton at the gate, and they were off to join the others down by the Jook. Big Sweet and Lucy got out their poles and joined us. It was almost like a log rolling out or a barbecue. You know, the quarters were high, and the men didn't get off from work every day like this. We progged on through the woods that was full of magnolia, pine, cedar, oak, cypress, hickory, and many kinds of trees whose names I don't know. It is hard to know all the trees in Florida, but everywhere they were twined with climbing vines and veiled in moss. What's the matter? I don't hear no birds complaining in Eugene Oliver. It don't seem natural. Everybody looked up at one time like cows in a pasture. Oh, you know how come we don't hear no birds? It's Friday, and the mockingbird ain't here, said Big Sweet after a period of observation. You know, what's Friday got to do with the mockingbird, Eugene challenged. That's exactly what I want to know, said Joe Wiley. Well, said Big Sweet, nobody never sees no mockingbird on Friday. They ain't on earth that day. They all gone to hell on Friday with a grain of sand in their mouth to help out they friend, she continued. You know, once there was a man, and he was very wicked. He used to rob and steal, and he was always in a fight and killing up people. You know, but he was awful good to birds, and mockingbirds was his favorite. That was a long time ago. Before the man started to build the Rocky Mountains. Well, way after a while, somebody killed him. And being he had done lived so bad, when he died, he went straight to hell. The birds all hated it mighty bad when they seen him in hell, so they tried to get him out. But the fire was too hot, so they gave up. All but the mockingbirds. They come together and decide to tote sand until they quench the fire in hell. So they set a day and they all agreed on it. Every Friday they tote sand to hell, and that's how come nobody don't never see no mockingbirds on Friday. Joe Wiley chuckled. If them mockingbirds ever expect to do that man any good, they better get some box cars that haul that sand. That one little grain they toting in their bill ain't helping none. But anyhow, it's going to show you that animals got sense as well as people, Joe went on. I take catfish, for instance. I knows a man that used to go fishing every Sunday. His wife begged him not to go do it. And his pastor strained with him for years, but it didn't do no good. He just would go catch him a fish every Sabbath. One Sunday, he went, and just as soon as he got the water, he seen a big old catfish up under some water lilies picking his teeth with his fins. So the man baited his pole and dropped the hook right down in front of that big old fish. The cat grabbed the hook and took out for the deep water. That man held on, and pretty soon that fish pulled him in. He couldn't get out. Some folks on the way to church seen him and run down to the water, but he was in too deep. So he went down to the first time. And when he come up, he hollered, "Tell my wife!" By the time the fish pull, damn, I lost him. By the time the fish pulled him under again, when he come up, he hollered, "Tell my wife!" and went down again. When he come up the third time, "Tell my wife to fill the order catfish." And went down for the last time, and he never came up no more. Oh, you believe that old lie? Joe Willard growled. I don't. Well, I don't. I do. Nobody ain't gonna get me to fishing on Sunday, said Big Sweet fervently. He done nothing. How come nothing don't happen to all these white folks that go fishing on Sunday? Niggas got all the signs and white folks got all the money, retorted Joe Willard. Yeah, but all catfish ain't so sensible, Joe Wiley cut in with a sly grin on his face. One time when I was looking in Plateau, or living in Plateau, Alabama, that's right on the Alabama River, I put out some fish lines one night and went on home. During that night, the river fell and that left the hooks up out of the water. And when I went there the next morning, the catfish had done jumped up after that bait till he was washed down in the sweat. Jim Presley said, "I know you telling the truth, Joe, because I saw a coach whip after a race runner one day, and the race runner was running so fast it got away from that coach whip that his tail got so hot it set their world on fire. And the coach whip was running so hard to catch him till he put it out with his sweat." Jim Allen said, "Y'all sure must not belong to no church the way y'all tell lies. Y'all done quit telling them. Y'all done gone too molding them. But y'all want to know how come snakes got poison in their mouth and nothing else ain't got it? I tell you," Jim argued Arthur Hopkins. Old man Allen turned angrily upon Arthur. "Don't you go calling me by my first name. I'm old enough for you to be a grandpa. You respect my gray hairs. I don't play with children. I don't play with children. Play with a puppy and he'll lick your mouth." "I didn't mean no harm. That's all right, Arthur. I ain't mad. I just don't play with children." You go play with Cliff and Sam and Eugene. That's your equal. I was a man when your daddy was born. Well, anyhow, Mr. Jim, please tell us, how come the snakes got poison? Well, when God made the snakes, he put them in the bushes to ornament the ground. But the things didn't suit the snake. So one day he got on a ladder and went up to see God. God, morning, God. Good morning, God. How do you do, snake? Well, I ain't so many. God, you put me down there on my belly in the dust and everything, trides upon me and kills off my generations. I ain't got no kind of protection at all. God looked off towards immensity and thought about the subject for a while. Then he said, I didn't mean for nothing to be stomping on you. To be stomping on you, snake, like that. You got to have some kind of protection. Here, take this poison and put it in your mouth. And when they stomps on you, protect yourself. So the snake took the poison in his mouth and went back. So after a while, all the other varmints went up to God. Good evening, God. How you making it, varmints? God, please do something about that snake. He laying in the bushes with poison in his mouth, and he's striking everything that shakes the bush. He's killing up our generations. We scared to walk on the earth. So God sent for the snake and told him, snake, when I give you that poison, I ain't mean for you to be hitting and killing everything that shake the bush. I give you that poison and told you to protect yourself when they tramples on you. But you killing everything that moves. I don't mean for you to do that. Now the snake say, Lord, I down here in the dust, and I ain't got no claws to fight with, and I ain't got no feet to get me out of the way. All I can see is feet coming to trample me. I can't tell who my enemy is and who my friend. You gives me the protection in my mouth, and I uses it. God thought it over for a while. Then he say, well, snake, I don't want your generation all stomped out, and I don't want you killing everything else that moves. Here, takes this bell and tie it on your tail. And when you hear feet coming, you ring your bell. And if it's your friend, he'll be careful. And if it's your enemy, it's you and him. Now, so that's how the snake got his poison. And that's how come he got a rattle. Bitty, Ben, my story is in. Turn loose the rooster and hold a hen. Don't tell no more about no snakes, especially when you walking in all that tall grass, pleading Presley. I expect I'm going to be seeing them in my sleep tonight. Lord, I'm scared of snakes. Who ain't cut in Cliff Ullman? It sure is getting hot. And I'll be glad when we get to this lake so I can find myself some shade. Man, you's 2 miles from that lake yet. And otherwise, it ain't hot today, said Joe Wiley. He ain't seen it hot. Is he in Will's house? Nah, Joe. When me and you is hoboing down in Texas, it was so hot till we saw old stumps and logs crawling off the shade. Eugene Oliver said, "No, that wasn't hot. I seen it so hot till 2 cakes of ice left the ice house and went down the street and fainted." Arthur Hopkins put in, I know 2 men who went to Tampa all dressed up in new blue serge suits, and it was so hot that when the train pulled into Tampa, 2 blue suits got off the train. The men was done melted out of them. Will House said, that wasn't hot. That was chilly weather. Me and Joe Wiley was fishing, and it was so hot that before we got out the water, we met the fish coming swimming up the road in dust. That's a fact too, added Joe Wiley. I remember that day well. It was so hot that I struck a match to light my pipe and set the lake afire. Burnt half of it up, then took the water that was left and put it out the fire. Joe Willis said, "Oh, hush, that ain't no, I don't hear that noise." Eugene and Clifford shouted together, "Yeah, went down to the river. Heard a mighty racket, nothing but the bullfrog pulling off the jacket. That ain't what I heard, said Joe. Well, what did you hear? I saw a chigger over in the fence corner with a splitter in his foot, and seed took a picking. It out with the fence nail, and the chigger is hollering, Lord have mercy. That brings me to the boll weevil, said Lawkins White. A boll weevil flew out into the steering wheel of a white man's car and says, Mister, let me drive your car. The white man says, you can't drive no car. Boll weevil says, oh yeah, I can. I drive a 5,000 car last year. I drove in 5,000 cars last year, and I'm going to drive in 10,000 this year. A man told a tale on boll weevil again. Says, say he heard a terrible racket, a noise down in the field. Went down to see what it was, and what you reckon? It was an old man boll weevil whipping little Willie boll weevil because he couldn't carry 2 rolls at a time. Willhouse said, I know I lie on a black net. Me and my buddy Joe, while it was ramshacking Georgia. No, sir. No, sir. What time it is? No, sir. No, sir. You get some cereal or something. Or you can wait till I'm done and I put them biscuits on. Willhouse said, I know a lie on a black net. Me and my buddy Joe Wiley was ramsacking Georgia over when we come to a logging camp. So being out of the work, we asked for a job. So the man puts us on and gives us some oxen to drive. I had a 6-yoke team and Joe was driving a 12-yoke team. As we was coming through the woods, we heard something humming and we didn't know what it was. So we got hungry and went in a place to eat. And when we come out, a gnat had done ate up all the 6-yoke team and the 12-yoke team and was sitting up on the wagons picking his teeth with ox horn and crying for something to eat. Yeah. Man, yeah, put in Joe Wiley. We seen a man tie his cow and calf out in the pasture, and a mosquito come along and eat up the cow and was ringing the bell for the calf. That wasn't no full-grown mosquito at that, said Eugene Oliver. I was traveling in Texas and laid down and went to sleep. The skeeters bit me so hard till all I seen an old iron wash pot, and I crawled under and turned it down over me good, so the skeeters couldn't get to me. But them skeeters bored right through that iron pot. So I up with a hatchet and braided their bills into the pot. So they flew on off across Galveston with the wash pot on their bills. Excuse me. Ooh. Now look, said Black Baby, one of them Indians on the Indian River. We went to bed and heard the mosquitoes singing like bull alligators. So we got under 4 blankets. Shucks, that wasn't nothing. The mosquitoes just screwing off them short bills, reaching back in their hip pocket and took out their long bills and screwed them on and come right on through them blankets and got us. Is that the biggest mosquito you all ever seen? Shucks, that was little baby mosquitoes. Them was little baby mosquitoes, man. One day, my old man took some men and went out in the woods to cut some fence posts. And a big rain come up, then and went up under great big old trees. And the big rain come up, so they went up under some big old trees. It was so big, it would take 6 men to meet around it. The other men sat down on the roots, but my old man stood up and leaned against the tree. Well, sir, a big old mosquito come up on the other side of that tree and bore right through it and got blood out of my old man's back. That made him so mad till he up with his axe and braided that mosquito's bill into that tree. But by that time, the rain stopped and they all went home. Next day, when they come out, that mosquito had done cleaned up 10 acres dying. And 2 and 3 weeks after that, my old man got enough bones from the skeeter to fence in that 10 acres. Everybody liked to hear about the mosquito. They laughed about the mosquito. They laughed all over themselves. Yeah, says Sack Daddy. Your show is telling the truth about that big old mosquito. Because my old man bought this same piece of land and raised a crop of pumpkins on it. And let me tell y'all right now, mosquito dust is the finest fertilizer in the world. The land's so rich, and we raised pumpkins so big that we ate 5 miles up in one of them, and 5 miles down, and 10 miles across one, and we ain't never found out how far it went. But my old man was building a scaffold inside so we could cut down pumpkin meat without so much trouble. When he dropped his hammer, he told me, he says, "Son, I done dropped my hammer. Go get it for me." Well, I went down in the pumpkin and began to hunt that hammer. I was fooling around in there for all day. When I met a man and he asked me what I was looking for, I told him my old man had dropped his hammer and sent me to find it for him. The man told me I might as well give it up for a lost cause. He had been looking for a double mule team and a wagon that had got lost in there for 3 weeks, and he hadn't found no trace of them yet. So I stepped on a pin. The pin bent, and that's the way the story went. That's rich land. But my old man had some rich land too. Put in wheelhouse. My old man planted cucumbers. And he went along dropping the seeds, and before he could get out the way, he'd have ripe cucumbers in his pocket. When it was richest land, what is the richest land you ever seen? Well, replied Joe Wiley, my old man had some land that was so rich that our mule died and we buried him down in our bottomland. And the next morning, he had done sprouted little jackasses. All that land wasn't so rich, objected Alma. My old man had some land, and it was so rich that he drove a stub in it. And the ground at the end of the corn row for the landmark, and the next morning there was 10 ears of corn on the corn stalk and 4 ears growing on the stub. That land y'all talking about might do, but if you give it a plenty commercially, but my old man wouldn't farm no poor land like that, said Joe Wiley. It made me think of my papa talking to some people. Oh, you call that land? Oh, that's some poor land. My old man wouldn't farm no poor land like that, said Joe Wiley. Now, one year, we were kind of late putting in our crops. Everybody else had corn and foot high when Papa said, "Well, chillin', I reckon we better plant some corn." So I was dropping and my brother was hilling up behind me, and we done planted about a dozen rows when I looked back and seen the corn coming up. I don't want it to grow too fast because it would be all fodder and no roasting is. So I hollered to my brother to sit down on some of it and stunt the growth. So he did. And the next day he dropped me back a note, says, "Passed through heaven yesterday at 12 o'clock selling roasted ears to the angels." Yeah, says Lark and White. But that was some pretty rich ground. But what is the poorest ground you ever seen? Arthur Hopkins spoke right up and said, "Now I seen some land so poor that it took 9 partridges to holler Bob White. Now that was rich land, boy, declared Lawkins. I seen land so poor that the people come together and decided that it was too poor to raise anything on. So they gave it to the church. So the congregation built the church and called a pastor and held a meeting. But the land was so poor they had to wire up to Jacksonville for 10 sacks of commercial before they could raise a tune on that land. The laughter was halted by the sound of the woodpecker against the cypress. Lonnie Barnes up with his gun to kill it, but Lucy stopped him. What you want to kill that old thing for? He ain't finna eat. Save that shot and powder to kill me a rabbit. I sure would love a nice tender cottontail. Slim Ellis brought me a great big old fat ham off a rabbit last night, and I like that. I can shoot you a rabbit. Man, what the hell is going on? My bad. Excuse me, man. Excuse me. My shit messing up. I'm not trying to delete no messages. My phone just doing what it want to do, and I'm trying to press the stuff to get out of. My bad. I paused the reading. I'm trying to mess with this damn phone. Anyway. Guys, like 3 pages left. 3 pages left. That was rich land, boy, declared Lawkins. I seen land so poor that the people come together and decided that it was too poor to raise anything. So they gave it to the church. So the congregation built the church and called a pastor and held a meeting. But the land was so poor, they had to wire up to Jacksonville for 10 sacks of commercial and before they could raise a tune on the land. Now the laughter was halted by the sound of a woodpecker against the cypress. Lonnie Barnes up with his gun to kill it, but Lucy stopped him. What you want to kill that old thing for? He ain't finna eat. Save that shot and powder to kill me a rabbit. I sure would love a nice tender cottontail. Slim Ellis brought me a great big old fat ham off a rabbit last night, and I like that. I can shoot you a rabbit just as good as Slim can, Lonnie protested. I wasn't going to kill no old tough peckerwood for you to eat, baby. I was going to shoot that redhead for his meanness. That peckerwood come pretty now, drowning the whole world once. How was that? Well, when the flood was and Di had 2, and they had 2 of everything in the ark. Well, old Nora didn't take on no trees. So the woodpecker sat around for a week or so. Then he felt like he just had to peck himself some wood. So he began to peck on the ark. Old Nora come to him and told him, "Don't peck on the ark. If you peck a hole in it, we'll all drown." Woodpecker says, "But I'm hungry for some wood to peck." Old Nora says, "I don't care how hungry you gets. Don't you peck on this ark no more. You gonna drown everybody and everything." So the woodpecker would sneak around behind old Nora's back and peck every chance he got. He'd hide himself way down in the hole where he thought nobody could find him and peck and peck and peck. So one day, old Nora caught him at it. She never opened his mouth at the woodpecker. He just hauled off and give the peckerwood a cold head whipping with a sledgehammer. And that's why the peckerwood got a red head today, because old Nora blooded it with a hammer. That's how come I feel like shooting every one of them I see, trying to drown me before I was born. A whole lot went on that tail of old Larkin's White commented. That's what a possum lost their hair off his tail. Now, don't you tell me no possum ever had no hair on his slick tail in of his, said Black Baby, cause I know better. I knows better. Yes, he did have hair on his tail one time. Yes, indeed. The possum had a bushy tail with long silk hair on it. Why? It used to be one of the prettiest sights you ever seen. The possum strutting around with his great big old plummet tail. That was way back in the old times before the great big flood. But the possum was lazy, just like he is today. He sleep too much. You see, old Nora had a son named Ham, and he loved to be playing music all the time. He had a banjo and a fiddle and maybe a guitar too. But the rain come up so sudden, he didn't have time to put him in the ark. So when rain kept coming down, he fretted a lot because he didn't have nothing to play. So he found an old cigar box and made himself a banjo, but he didn't have no strings for it. So he seen a possum stretched out sleeping with his tail all spreading round. So Ham slipped up and shaved the possum's tail and made the strings for his banjo out the hairs. Now when a possum woke up from his nap, Ham was playing his tail hairs down to the bricks, and that's why the possum ain't got no hair on his tail today. Losing his pretty tail sort of broke the possum's spirit too. He ain't never been the same since. That's how come he always act them shame-faced when he see his tail out what it used to, when he see his tail ain't what it used to be. And the possum feel mighty bad about it. A lot of things ain't what they used to be, observed Jim Presley. Now, take the gators, for instance. He been changed around powerful since he been made. Yeah, Cuddy and Eugene Oliver, he used to have a nice tongue. So he could talk like a natural man. But Brer Dog caused the gator to lose his tongue. And that's how come he hate the dogs today. Brer Gator didn't fall out with Brer Dog by no tongue, retorted Presley. Brer Dog done the gator a dirty trick by his mouth. God made the dog and the gator without no mouth. So they seen everybody else had a mouth, so they made up to get themselves a mouth like the other varmints. So they agreed to cut one another's mouth, and each one said that when the other one told them to stop cutting, they would. So Brer Dog got his mouth first. Brer Gator took the razor and cut. Brer Dog told him stop, which he did. Then Brer Dog took the razor and began to cut Brer Gator mouth. When his mouth was as big as he wanted it, Brer Gator says, "Stop, Brer Dog. That'll do. I thank you." But Brer Dog kept right on cutting till he ruined Brer Gator's face. He ruined Brer Gator's face. Gator was a very handsome gentleman before Brer Dog done him that way. And every time he looking in the looking glass, he cried like a baby over this disfigurement in his face. And that's how come the gator hate the dog. My people, lamented Oliver. They just would tell what they don't know. Go on, Oliver. The gator didn't fall out with the dog body, no mouth cutting scrape. All the animals was having a ball down in the pine woods, and so they all chipped in for refreshments, and then they didn't have no music for the dance. So all the animals what could agree to furnish music. So the dog said he'd be the trumpet. He'd be the trumpet in the band. And the horse and the frog and the mockingbird and all said they'll be they'll be there and help out all they could. But they didn't have no bass drum till somebody said, "What's the matter with Brad Gator? Why he don't play the bass drum for us?" They called Brad Gator, but he wasn't at the meeting, so the varmints deputized Brad Dog to go call on Brad Gator and see if he wouldn't furnish the drum music for the dance, which he did. Now, good evening, Brad Gator. My compliments, Brad Dog. How you making it? I'm always glad when folks visit me. What you want? Well, Brad Gator, the varmints is holding a big convention tonight at the Piney Woods, and we want you to furnish us a little bit of your drum music. I likes this, Brad Dog. It's like this, Brad Dog. Tell the other animals that I'm mighty proud they wants me and the compliments run all over me. But my wife is Polly and my wife is Polly and my children is down sick. But I'll lend you my drum if you know anybody can play it and know how to take care of it too. Oh, I'll do that, Brad Gator. You just put it in my care. You don't have to worry about all that at all. So the dog took Brad Gator's tongue to the ball that night, and they beat it for a drum. The varmints liked the bass drum so well that they didn't play nothing else hardly. So by daybreak, it was woke clean out. Brad Dog didn't want to go tell Brad Gator they had done wore his tongue out, so he hid it from Brad Gator. Of course, the Gator didn't like that his tongue. The Gator don't like it by his tongue. So he done sworn enemy of the dog. Big Sweet say, the first time I ever heard about the dog wearing out the Gator's tongue. But I don't know. He used to be a pretty varmint. He was pure white all over with red and yellow stripes around his neck. He was pretty like that till he met up with Brer Rabbit. I have to laugh every time I think how sharp that old rabbit rascal is. That's this old white gator. Brer Gator. It's Brer Gator. Yeah, said Hopkins. Sam Hopkins. At nighttime, at the right time, I've always understood it's the habit of the rabbit to dance in the wood. When I'm shelling my corn, you keep out your nubbins, Sam. Big Sweet snapped as she spat her snuff. I'm telling this lie on the gator. Well, the gator was a pretty white varmint with coal black eyes. He used to swim in the water, but he never did bog up in the mud like he do now. When he come out the water, he used to lay up on the clean grass so he wouldn't dirty himself all up. So one day, he was laying up in the grass in the marsh, sunning himself and sleeping when Brer Rabbit come busting across the marsh and run right over Brer Gator before he stopped. Brer Gator woke up and seen who it was tromping all over him and tracking up all his pretty white hide. So he seen Brer Rabbit, so he asked him, Brer Rabbit, what you mean by running all across me and messing up all my clothes like this? You know, Brer Rabbit was up behind a clump of bushes, peering out to see what was after him. So he told the gator, says, I ain't got time to see what I'm running over nor under. You know, I got trouble behind me. Gator asked, what is trouble? I ain't never heard tell of that before. Brer Rabbit says, you ain't never heard tell of trouble? Brer Gator told him, no. Rabbit says, all right, you just stay right where you at, and I'll show you what trouble is. he peered around to see if the coast was clear and lopped off. And Brer Gator washed Brer Rabbit's foot tracks off his hide and went on back to sleep again. Brer Rabbit went off and lit him a litter knot and come on back. He said the marsh fire. He set the marsh fire on every side. All around Brer Gator, the fire was burning in flames of fire. The gator woke up and pitched out to run, but every which way he run, the fire met him. He seen Brer Rabbit sitting up high on the high ground, just killing himself laughing. So he hollered and asked him, Brer Rabbit, what all this going on? That's trouble, Brer Gator. That's trouble you was in. The gator run him side to side, round and round. Way after a while, he broke through and hit the water. Kaplagoon! He got all cooled off, but he had done got smoked all up before he got in the water, and his eyes is all red from the smoke. And that's how come the gator is black today, because the rabbit took advantage of him like that. And that was chapter 6. That was chapter 6 of Mules and Men by Miss Zora Neale Hurston. That's some funny shit in there. I like them gator stories. I'll tell you about the gator. See what these people are talking about now. I wish I could go back and see the comments that I accidentally canceled out some of the deleted some of the comments. Wish I could go back and see it. But anyway, Brer Rabbit and Brer Gator. That's some stories I don't remember hearing when I was young. I do not remember hearing any Brer Rabbit stories. Not from my folks. Not how they tell them. I remember a lot of stories, but I know Brer Rabbit stories. But man, Miss Zora Neale Hurston is getting all the grammar. She getting all the tales. So far, so good, man. I read decently today. It flowed all right. It flowed all right with the slave talk. with the old country talk. It flowed all right. But we're doing good, man. We're moving right along. We are moving right along in the book. We are almost halfway. We're almost halfway through the book. And we have 10 chapters in part 1. So we only have 3 more chapters to be out of part 1. And then we'll get into the hoodoo, which has the superstitions in it. You'll have to see which one. See what they talk about in the with some of these superstitions, and see if any of these superstitions are any that I have heard. But so far, so good, man. Miss Zora Neale Hurston is doing good. I would give her. I mean, the folk stories, the folk tales is good. It's turning out to be. I wish I could read it better. I wish I could read it better. Like I wish I had that. As time, I'll probably be reading it good by the end of the book. By the end of the book, I'm gonna have it like I want to have it, But hey, it's all gravy. This session of Reading with Shalom is down. We out for the day, man. We out here. We'll keep pushing to see what we can learn and grow from in the books. One book at a time. One session at a time, one section at a time, one chapter at a time, one page at a time, one line at a time. Here a little, there a little. till we learn, find something to learn and grow from, or until we finish the book and we mark it down. It's be book 22, baby. Book 22. We're gonna keep pushing. Makes me want to see what else, what other folklores are there? What else is out there? We'll keep pushing on. Mules and Men by Ms. Zora Neale Hurston. Appreciate everybody that stopped by, stayed in, sent a comment, whatever you did. Liked the those that liked the live. Appreciate it. Appreciate it. Thank you. It helps the channel a lot. It helps the channel a lot. So we're gonna keep pushing. But until next time, man, this has been Reading with Shalom. 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 We out here. I'm out.